Welcome to the Just Because Diaries, where real life meets random chats and plenty of mom moments, all while reclaiming joy in the seemingly mundane. I'm Celeste, a mom, but also a whole ass person, navigating the balance of motherhood while rediscovering the joy in doing things just for myself. From the chaos of parenting to the little moments that make life fun, nothing is off limits. So grab a cup of coffee or something stronger, and let's get into it. Today's episode is about what happens when you follow something small just because it brings you joy and what you might start noticing when you do. Plus, a just because moment about letting yourself walk away from something that isn't bringing you joy anymore. The last couple weeks have been really productive, but not in the way that sounds. I have not completed any to-do lists or accomplished anything amazing at all, but just as importantly, in my opinion, I did accomplish some joy-driven whimsy things, and honestly, it's just felt really, really good. But something that I found interesting is that each of those whimsy joy things, there were 3 of them in total, they are all completely random and they have nothing to do with one another, except that I noticed they all had a bit of a serendipitous theme to them. And they all happened within days of each other, which also felt very serendipitous. So let's start at the beginning. Last week, I found myself without a new crochet project for the first time in what felt like forever. I had just finished my last item that I was making for my sister, and I had no idea what I was going to make next. And that was actually so exciting for me. It was kind of just like a blank slate. But since I didn't really know what I wanted to make, I did what I normally do, and I turned to Etsy and Pinterest for patterns and inspiration, but nothing was really jumping out at me. But then I had the most random idea pop into my head, and just the thought of it made me so stupid happy. And that is that I wanted to make a giant crochet banana. I know, it's the most random thing in the world, but I was so excited about it. And I hoped beyond hope that some genius creator out there had already come up with the pattern for a giant crochet banana, because I didn't want to have to figure it out. And thankfully, someone had, and it was exactly what I had envisioned in my head. So I bought the pattern, and then I went over to my yarn stash to check for my materials, assuming that I'd probably have to go to Michael's or place some kind of yarn order at some point. But to my surprise and absolute delight, I had exactly what I needed for this project. I had the right yarn in the right colors, the right yarn size, amount. It was like all of that yarn was just sitting there waiting for me to realize that I needed to use it to make a giant banana. It felt so serendipitous because I can't tell you the last time that I went to start a project and actually had everything that I needed already. Obviously, I got straight to work because I could not wait to have my finished giant banana. And thankfully, it worked up pretty quickly. And when it was done, you guys, the joy that this giant crochet banana gave me, oh my God, it made me so happy. It ended up being just over 2 feet long, and it is amazing. It is everything that I wanted it to be. I couldn't wait to show Miles because I knew he was going to love it. And of course he did, because how could he not? It's a giant banana. So now my giant crochet banana is on display in our living room on the couch as if it's just another member of our family. And every time I see it, it just makes me so stupid happy. Like, I don't think there will ever be a day where I look at it and I don't feel instantly happy. Part of my whimsy goal for the year includes saying yes to things without questioning, because I will overthink everything to oblivion. In this case, I wanted to make a giant banana, so I did. I didn't think about more practical things that I could make or other projects that I could probably start. There was none of that for the first time. It was just, I want to make a giant banana because I think it's hilarious and amazing, so I did. And as a result, I got to create my own bit of whimsy. Now, do we have a need for a giant banana? No, because I'm not sure there would ever really be a need for a giant banana. But I did it anyway for the joy of it, and for me, the payoff was huge. So I said yes to the giant banana, and riding that wave, I wanted to see if I could find something else that I could say yes to and somehow in my very random train of thought, I landed on camping. Bananas to camping, I don't know. But camping is not new to me by any means. It's something I have loved and done ever since I was a little kid. But the last time we went camping, it was a bit of a disaster. And since then, it's kind of been off the table. The year we moved to Colorado, I was very gung-ho that we should go camping for some reason because I guess moving out of state wasn't adventurous enough for me. So I booked us a beautiful spot a few hours away just for a couple of nights, and so off we went. Our first day there was amazing. It was so beautiful and chill and just a lot of fun, easygoing. But that night, a storm rolled in, and it started as just kind of a light breeze and some light rain, so that was fine. But the next morning, we woke up and the storm was getting worse, like significantly worse. So we packed up everything in the pouring rain and we got into our car and we drove home. The bright moments of that trip were really nice and wonderful, but the storm literally put a dampener on things and just put us off camping altogether. We pretty much decided that we would never be able to tent camp in Colorado and that the only way we'd ever go camping here again was with a trailer or a pop-up or something along those lines. But then last year, I made a mom friend, and her family tent camp all the time in Colorado. So she gave me a new hope that we could try again. So when the thought crossed my mind last week, I decided that this year we would try tent camping again. Things are definitely much different now. After living here for 5 years, we have a much better understanding of Colorado weather. All thanks to Cody the weather guy, by the way. If you know, you know. So we for sure won't get stuck in any massive storms again because if one is forecasted, we just won't go on the trip. So I made the decision that we were going to give this another try. And I kind of thought, why not give that same campground another try too, so we can maybe reclaim our camping mojo? And when I went to their site to check availability, our same exact campsite as the last time we went was available for 2 nights. Now, it should be said that this campground is incredibly popular because it is gorgeous. It's on a beautiful lake. There is plenty of shade and it books up way in advance. So to find a spot for a couple of days in the summer and in the same campsite as last time felt super meant to be and like it was a sign that I had to book the trip. So I did, and I didn't even discuss it with David. I just booked it and then I told him after, and thankfully he was really excited about it. But at this point, it just felt like a happy coincidence and I didn't really think too much of it, just like I didn't think too much about how the giant banana worked out the way it did. But something about those 2 separate events was kind of sticking with me, like what are the chances, you know? And then there was a third thing that came up. So something that I have been wanting to get back to for years and that I have continuously pushed off for one reason or another is tap dancing. Fun fact, I am a tap dancer, but it has been easily 10 years at least since I have even put on tap shoes. But a few years ago, I got the urge to dance again. But for some reason, I came up with this weird excuse that my tap shoes that I had wouldn't work and that I needed new ones. Now, there is nothing wrong with my current tap shoes. I've had them for years and years and I've been just fine. So the excuse that I needed new shoes was super lame. And now I can definitely recognize that I was clearly just scared to jump back into dancing again. But back then, that idea that I needed new tap shoes really stuck with me for years. Oh, and it wasn't just that I needed new tap shoes. I decided that if I was going to buy a new pair of tap shoes, because they're not inexpensive, that these new tap shoes needed to be yellow. Now, aside from getting a custom pair of tap shoes made in yellow, how common are yellow tap shoes, you ask? They're not at all. Fast forward to last week, Block, a tap shoe company, announced that they were going to come out with a new color tap shoe, but they weren't going to announce the new color until it was released, which is something that they do with all of their new color releases. Over the years, I've seen their new color announcements, and not once did I ever wake up early for the launch to see what the new color was, but this time I felt like I needed to. It's like I was certain that they were going to be yellow. I even told David, prepare to see this charge on the credit card tomorrow because I just know that these tap shoes are going to be yellow. So I set my alarm for early Friday morning. It went off. I rolled out of bed and opened up my laptop, went to their website, and I was greeted with a big ol' yellow tap shoe on their homepage. I literally couldn't believe it, and I don't think I've ever added anything to my cart and checked out faster in my life. I was so happy and so excited because after all of these years with my very weird and very specific dream of having yellow tap shoes, I was finally going to get them. Later on that day, I was talking to David about my new tap shoes, and he said, "Celeste, I feel like this is a really big deal. You've been wanting yellow tap shoes for years." And I was like, "I know, it is a big deal." And then I said, "I can't believe that the year I am choosing Whimsy is the same year that my yellow tap shoes come out." And then something just kind of dawned on me. I thought about the yellow tap shoes, and then I thought about camping and my giant crochet banana, and I noticed all of these little synchronicities in each of those three things. And for some reason, catching that made me think back to something my therapist taught me forever ago about our brains and the mental pathways we create in our brains with regard to our thought processes, changing habits, things like that. And since I'm not a therapist, the way that I like to think about this is as if our brain is a giant forest that's full of a bunch of trails. Some of those trails are really well worn and very easy to see, while other trails are grown over and really easy to miss. The well-worn paths are the ones that we've created with our habits or things we tell ourselves all the time, and they're well-worn because we've traveled them a lot with our thoughts. But when we want to start a new habit or change the way we think about anything, really, we have to forge a new pathway. And those are the overgrown and easy to miss paths that we haven't walked on yet. And it feels really hard when we choose a new pathway because the one we've been traveling on is really easy and familiar. And the new pathway might be full of hypothetical knee-high weeds and bugs, and you have no idea what's in the weeds or what you're going to find along the way. But when we decide to start walking this new path anyway, and then we continue to walk it, it gets easier and easier, and soon the weeds start to disappear and the path becomes just as clear and as easy as the old one. It just takes time and it takes a lot of practice. So as much as I do believe that things happen for a reason, I don't think the universe suddenly aligned so that I could start tap dancing again or go camping or crochet a giant banana. I think that those little alignments and those little synchronicities were always there and always available for me to see, but I started noticing them because I have been practicing joy and whimsy as a way of moving through my life. When I chose joy and whimsy, I started walking a different path in my mind, even though I didn't realize it at the time. And the longer that I've walked it, the more I can see what's there. So maybe serendipity isn't always something that just happens or appears at any random moment. Maybe it's something that becomes visible if you're actually looking for it. But it also made me wonder what path I was walking before this that made these things harder to notice. I think we all walk familiar paths in our minds without ever even realizing it or probably even thinking about it. And I think that maybe sometimes the only thing that can change our experiences in life is choosing to step onto a different path, even if it's a little overgrown and maybe a little scary at first. But I do think it's worthwhile to consider because who knows what you'll find or what you'll notice. In my case, noticing what I did about the little synchronicities was just a nice little surprise, and it added to the fun in my crochet banana and camping and my yellow tap shoes. Alone, each one of those things is great, but when you add in those little synchronicities, they just start to feel a little extra somehow, and I really love that. So if you've been feeling a pull towards something small or joyful or even completely random, maybe you don't have to explain it or justify it. Maybe you can just say yes and follow it and see what meets you there. And if you notice any tiny synchronicities or unexpected good things, I would genuinely love to hear about them. So let me know and shoot me an email to thejustbecausediaries@gmail.com. For today's Just Because moment, I have what is potentially considered a controversial topic: abandoning books we dislike, also known as DNF, which stands for Did Not Finish. I feel like sometimes this is a controversial topic depending on who you ask. Some people are very anti-DNFing books, while others are super for it. And to be honest, I am coming around to the idea as someone who was previously on team see it through to the very end, no matter what. And that's because I just finished the last book in a series that I hated. Like, I hated the whole series. Maybe with the exception of the first book. That one wasn't so bad, and it made me want to start the second book. But the other 3 books, I hated. I didn't like the plot. I hated the main female character. I thought she was super immature and really annoying. I did like some of the secondary characters, but when I look back on the series as a whole, there really wasn't anything that I loved about it. So why did I keep going? Weirdly enough, I think that I felt a sense of guilt, which is crazy, and I can totally recognize that because there's nothing wrong with not liking a book. But I felt really bad for not finishing the series, even if it felt like a chore to continue it. But I know that some of you will feel me on this because I even vented to my girlfriends about this book and how I was hate finishing it. And they said that they do the same thing. We cannot just stop reading a book, no matter how bad it is. So I have decided that that's it. I am going to try and be a DNFer in the future because after finishing this series, it just felt like a big old waste of my time, especially when I have a backlog of books on hold in the Libby app waiting for me that I actually really do want to read. So I am going to call this protecting my joy because obviously from everything I've just said, finishing that series only pissed me off. So not again. Life is too short to read or listen to books that we hate, especially in this season of life when free time is much more difficult to come by. So I'm here to say, if you need to hear it, let's normalize stopping the book we don't love mid-chapter or mid-book, whatever floats your boat. But if the book doesn't float your boat, close the book or exit the app. Either way, just walk away and then find something else that you actually want to read. Because we should be reading and listening to books that bring us joy. Because it's really stupid to guilt ourselves into finishing something that we don't even like. So anyway, thanks for coming to my TED Talk. But on a bit of a more serious note, before I wrap things up here, I just wanted to say thank you so much to everyone who reached out about my last episode. Your messages and your emails meant everything to me, and they just really touched me. So I wanted to say thank you so much for sharing those with me. Also, today is my 10th episode, which I can't believe. So I also wanted to say thank you to all of you for being here. I love this little community we are building together, and I can't thank you enough for listening and writing in or just being along for the ride. It means the world to me that you take time out of your day to listen to my little podcast. So please know that I am so grateful for each and every one of you, and just thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Just Because Diaries. I love reading your emails, so shoot me a message anytime about anything to thejustbecausediaries@gmail.com, and you may just be mentioned in a future episode. Also, give me a follow on Instagram at thejustbecausediaries. And finally, it would mean the world to me if you could please take a few seconds to rate and review my podcast by hitting that 5-star button and leaving me a little love note in the review section. And please share this episode with a friend who you think might enjoy being part of this budding community. Thank you so much again for listening. I so appreciate you being here, and I will see you again in a couple of weeks. Bye for now.